I miss the sound of your voice, Joel.
Aw, I'm all mushy.
This is the Citadel Cafe.
This is the Citadel Cafe, episode number 84 for Wednesday, October 16th, 2013. My name is Joel Duggan, and the Citadel Cafe is where me and my friends come to get together and talk about the geeky stuff that we are into. We cover everything from movies and television to books, apps, and websites. To my right, this evening, returning from a trip abroad, is Mr. Paton Francis of Cardboard Treehouse. Paton, hello!
Hey guys, how you doing? Thanks for having me back.
It's like you're a guest on your own show.
I know, it's funny.
And returning for another trip around the Citadel Cafe is none other than Mr. Matt Britton. Welcome back, my friend. My sir? Wow.
Well, thank you for having me back.
You're welcome.
Apparently, I've been knighted while I was gone.
Happy, yes. See, Sir Matt Britton. See, I should have just ran with that. If you haven't guessed, I am flubbing lines already. I almost made it through the new intro. But I am high as a kite. So, hey, it's all good. No, I as many people that follow the webcomic might have been able to suss out, I had a wonderful back spasm this week. So I am on a lot of painkillers. So if I at all seem loopy, I'm going to blame the drugs. That is, unfortunately, the course of action for me this week. So I haven't, you'd think that being laid up, you would watch a lot of stuff. But I end up staring at the ceiling as I ice my back on the floor. So I have very limited amounts of media to share with everybody this week, unfortunately. Yeah, but Peyton, you were doing more traveling for your project.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, can you mention or say what it's about? Like, I mean, does the film have a name? I meant to ask you that last week.
We've tentatively called it 54 hours, which is how long the men were left on the ice before they were rescued. And I think that's the name that's probably going to stick.
Cool.
It sure has a nice ring to it, I think, and it's also Googleable. So
yeah. Now, can you do you have any websites or anything like that you can direct people to?
Yeah, we got no materials or anything to put up yet. But
okay.
But we're just delivering our Leica reel to the producers and stuff, and we'll see how it goes from there. Any revision notes, whatever. We're locking in some character designs and some other things, just wrapping up pre-production there, and. Yeah, we got the archival footage we're going to be using. We've got orders in for that stuff, so it's all starting to come together. And
nice.
It's all starting to come together. It's going to happen in a big hurry because this thing needs to be done for the 100th anniversary coming up in March.
Yeah, that's a short amount of time to make a film.
Yeah, so as a bit of a synopsis for anyone who missed the last time I was on, it's a 100th anniversary coming up of a seal hunting disaster that occurred in Newfoundland in 1914, where 78 men froze to death over a period of 54 hours based on corporate greed and just whatnot. So,
what is the event commonly known as for anybody that wants to look it up on Google?
Well, there's a book written by a woman named Cassie Brown. The book itself is called Death on the Ice.
Okay.
And that will probably be the most searchable.
That'll get people in the right direction.
Yeah, the book came out in the early 70s.
Right. Okay.
So it's based on her interviews and accounts of from the inquiries and stuff like that. Anyway, it's a pretty good read, and the story itself is quite compelling. But it's going to be interesting going through the process as a director and stuff like that on this. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm glad it's trucking along, and I mean, obviously, you'll be able to share stuff with us.
Oh yeah.
And
we'll try to get some stuff up on the blog and stuff like that. And it was fun to be in BC and work in the studio out there again for another week. And it was interesting because it was raining the entire week, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's so cold." I'm like, "No, it's not."
You have no idea what cold is.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so temperate out there. So anyway,
cool.
And how about you guys? What's been happening with you guys for the last week or two?
Well, for me, I've been doing a lot of planning. I mentioned before on the show that HalCon is coming up November 8th through the 10th, so I'm going to be at HalCon. But just last night, I was talking with some of the event planners, and although this isn't the 100% final schedule, we have been able to nail down the times and dates for some of the panels that I'm going to be taking part in. So at 12 p.m. on Saturday during HalCon, I'll be on the webcomics panel. 12 p.m. on Sunday, Jocelyn and I will be doing the podcasting panel. And 2 p.m. on Sunday, there's a chance that I will be in a process panel, which is just another comic-related thing, but it's focused on, the tools that you use, your creative method. Like it's not so much about websites and promoting yourself and writing comics. It's more about like how you draw, what tools you use to make your stuff. And that process panel is something that's happening throughout the whole weekend. So every day there's a process panel, and the guys from Where Monsters Dwell in New Brunswick are interviewing different artists for those panels.
Cool.
So I might be up there with somebody else, or I'm assuming I will be, probably another traditional artist, or maybe not. So there's going to be a mix of people that are just going to be sharing their process and stuff like that. So it should be an interesting time. And then in short notice news, I will also be at Pop Expo on Saturday, October 26th. Which is coming up here in Halifax, not this weekend coming, but next. And that is part of the Halifax Pop Explosion. It's a art, zine, and record fair, and this year they're smashing it all together into one big, under one big roof at the World Trade and Convention Center. So I will be there on Saturday. Nice. So yeah, I originally didn't have a table. I was too late getting in touch with them, and they ended up with a spare. Someone canceled, so I squeaked in. Matt, what's been going on with you since the last time you were on the show?
Joe was on the show last weekend, right? Or last week, right?
Yep.
So he kind of talked about our podcast that we're working on. So this past week has been filled with a lot of getting all that stuff down and what we're going to talk about and getting everything set up. I've ordered some new equipment. It seems like every day a new box comes in from Amazon. So I've been spending the evening setting up equipment and playing with it and having lots of fun with that.
And we were doing a little bit of testing here in the pre-show. You ended up picking up the same mic that myself and Paton use, actually, the Blue Microphone Yeti.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you like it so far?
I was really surprised at how big it is. It does not look nearly that big in the picture.
No, they're monsters.
Yeah, and I got a boom mic, or a boom stand that it's the scissor arm boom stand. And it came with a shock mount on it. And so I was like, okay, well, that's awesome. I don't have to purchase an extra piece of equipment for that. And the shock mount itself is about as big around as the mic. So I have taken it all apart and used it, kind of rigged it up there to work until I can get something in between. But no, so far I'm really liking it. It seems to do really good. With Joel Kane and I did some recording last night so I could listen to it. Definitely good quality. So
cool. I'm looking forward to the new show. Far. Have you guys come up with a name at all yet?
Not really.
Okay.
We've been.
I won't make you say any ideas on air for fear that they disappear into the social media ether. But yeah, okay. We'll have to touch base on that when you guys cement some ideas.
Okay.
Cool. So what have you guys been watching? Paton, I mean, you've been back and forth on a plane. Have you been watching any movies or any TV while you've been traveling?
I ended up seeing an Adventure Time marathon on the plane, which is pretty funny because I haven't really watched many episodes of that.
Like how do you find that?
Well, it was quite funny. I was sitting on the lake from Toronto to Vancouver, and there was a dad and his 12-year-old daughter sitting next to me, and they didn't even like say hi or anything. I'm like, all right, so I just sat down, and myself and the daughter were watching this Adventure Time, and two of us were just busting the gut. It is so insane. Like it's almost like lucid dreaming. It's really, really weird.
It's really out there.
It's really quite funny. I really, really enjoyed it. But
maybe I have to give it more of a chance because I've watched. I gave it at least 2 or 3 episodes. Both Joss and I sat down to watch it one night, and we just didn't get it. Like it just wasn't funny. And I don't know what it is about the show that we're not getting.
So I think you and Jocelyn, are pretty focused.
Yeah,
I'm much more. Hey, look, shiny quarter. Hey, what's that? Okay, so it totally speaks to me. Right? So.
See, that's me. Like I'm very ADD, but I don't know. Maybe I just didn't give the show enough time. I guess I just assumed it wasn't really all that good, but I might have to give it another shot.
I was sitting on a plane, so it was like that, or
that's true.
The dumpster CSI stuff. So I'm like, no, it's okay. I'll watch this.
Yeah,
I might have to give it a turn off my brain and just watch Chance.
Yeah,
See
no,
how
that's
that
fun,
goes.
right?
Not
And
not try to filter that ADD out and just let it run wild.
yeah, just keep the eyes open, just let it sink in.
Yeah, I remember one time hanging out at your place, Peyton. You and I watched. I believe it's called the Regular Show, and it's got like a blue jay and a looks like
I don't think
a
I've ever watched that
mole
actually.
or a ferret or something, and then there's a guy that's got like a lollipop for a head or a balloon. I'm
I,
pretty sure it's called the Regular Show. I remember
yeah,
watching
yeah,
some of it.
I've seen like the things where I know it's on Netflix, so
Yeah.
but I don't recall watching it though.
Hmm. I just that seemed a little bit more my speed, but still really random. Like
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, I've enjoyed other more recent cartoons. There was another one where there was like a devil, where everybody was in hell, and it was like the mayor of hell, and it was
Oh, Jimmy Two Shoes.
Jimmy Two Shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a fun. I think that's done out of Ottawa.
yeah. I think
That's
that's
pretty
the
fun.
last kind of current cartoon that I've watched that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like I, found some silly kid moments, found some laugh out loud adult moments, like kind of found it all in Jimmy Two Shoes, but I haven't had anything else cross my plate in the last little while. I started watching Tron. I think it's called Tron Legacy
Yeah, on Netflix. Yeah.
on Netflix, and it's okay. Like it's good. I haven't really dropped a judgment on it yet because I haven't watched enough. But it's one of those. I don't have anything that's compelling. Like I don't have anything drawing me back on the
Yeah.
animation scene right now.
Yeah. I also watched a bit of the Big Bang stuff. That's sort of they started the new season up again. So that sort of drew me back in.
Oh yeah, how's that?
It's all right. I'm watching it on CTV streaming on their website and stuff. So they
Well, that's
put
cool.
an episode up and they keep it there for a couple of days, and then a couple of weeks, and they drop the episode as they add new ones in. So
That's cool. So you don't have to worry about downloading or anything.
yeah, so it just streams from there. It's nice to be able to do that sort of thing, but it's just they're into the seventh season now, and it's still fresh enough, right? But you're thinking, how are they going to wrap all this up down the end?
Yeah.
Are they going to do like a large sort of story arc to bring it in, or are they going to pull a Three's Company and just have Janice marry somebody?
Yeah.
Like just like okay, and here we go, it's ended.
The end of
Right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still enjoy the show, but I've found it's the Sheldon show.
Yeah,
Like it's no longer about the big picture. It's more about just the one-off characters, and I worry when. While you want to cultivate good character and good acting, because Jim Parsons obviously does a fantastic job with it, but like you worry when a show that originally had him as a supporting cast member seems to be now written kind of around him.
yeah,
Where now Leonard seems like the sidekick.
Yeah, I think for me, like, once you did 2 or 3 rounds of Leonard and Penny get together, Leonard and Penny break up, Leonard and Penny get together, and then they break up. Like, you can only do that so many times before I'm like, you know what? Sheldon's the funny character, and I'm going to watch it so I can see him do stupid stuff, and everything else is background noise.
Yeah, because that's sort of that pent up, sexuality and love interest thing. They've taken care of that, so now you've got like, what is Sheldon going to do, and Rajesh, what's going to happen to him, right? Well, they've even gotten rid of his, inability to talk to women thing. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah. So
So
I always
the
found that
last-
funny.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was going to say, I missed the last season, and so it was kind of most of the last season I haven't seen, and so like there's a lot of that stuff that it was like there kind of needs to come to a point to some of this, or it's just in the way.
Yeah.
But
So what about you? What have you been watching, Matt?
I have been catching Sleepy Hollow. I've been watching it on Hulu because I don't have cable or anything like that, so I've been watching it on Hulu Plus. Have you guys seen it or seen anything about it? Or
I've heard of it. A comic artist I follow, Mike Mayhack online, is watching it as well, and he's continuing to watch it, but he's pretty critical of it. Like it's not a great show, but at the same time, it's got a lot of visual appeal.
Yeah, and like the first couple shows for me were kind of like the first show went one way and the second show went completely the opposite way, and so it was like, well, what kind of show is this going to be? Because is it going to be, because it's kind of supernatural and it's kind of a cop drama, and I mean, they've done a good job at making it a supernatural cop drama, but it is still like it's CSI if the killers were the 4 Horsemen of Death or the Horsemen of Death, or like
Right.
it's not really. I mean, the idea behind it when I first heard it in the first episode, I was like, oh, this could be really cool, and now the actual show is starting to come into fruition, and you're starting to see what they're going to do, and it's going to be a lot of, this person died, the main characters have to figure out who killed them, It is always some sort of supernatural being, and this is
So
how
it's,
they stop them.
so it's basically grim.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, and that's the truth. I liked Grimm, or I still like Grimm. So I mean, it's just more of that, but it's an interesting the uh, the one character being from 200 years in the past. Plot line is still interesting. So
Mm.
for at least the first season, I think it'll be okay. Not it's not. I don't think it'll ever be great unless they do something drastically different. But I enjoy it. It's a fun little show to watch. To catch. It has Orlando Jones, and I like him. He's okay as an actor. I've always liked him, so
Cool.
it's fun to see him doing something more regular.
Where is it visually with regards to like the Sleepy Hollow movie from Tim Burton?
Um,
Is it in that ilk?
kind of.
Okay.
They kind of want it to be this like there's this dark everything draped in mist and
Mm.
old timey look to things, but at the same time make it very modern and like normal people would live there and not think things are out of place. So you get one scene where there's mists everywhere and you're like, I don't understand how normal people can't walk by this every day and feel like there's something creepy going on there. And then the very next scene is regular, like standing out in my hometown in the middle of Ponuk nowhere. So it's like that kind of draws you away from it a little bit, but
Mm.
with it being the first season, I mean, some shows just don't do so hot in their first season.
Yeah,
And I
and
feel
some,
like this is a show that may not have got a lot of backing on the simple fact that it's a cool idea, but once you get past the idea, it's not really out there. So,
yeah. I've noticed that about Once Upon a Time as we've been continuing to watch that here, and that is it's getting better as the characters kind of come into their own, as the mysteries get a little bit deeper beyond the episode of the week sort of thing.
mhm.
The full on plot has us now, and despite some campy moments and some flat characters here and there, we're on board to see where the show is going to go as an overall arc in the season. And I mean, it might just take, I mean, all these shows, they need funding, they need kind of safe sections of the season. If they get canned halfway through, they kind of have to have an out. So I find a lot of times, especially with new shows that are a little out there, you find they kind of drag up to about halfway through the season.
Yeah,
And then after that, if they're like, "Oh, good, people like us, things are going fairly well," then they'll write, a better plot that will last the rest of the season, where there's an ongoing whodunit or something. And then part way through the first season, if things continue to go well, then they get picked up for a second, and things usually improve from there.
yeah,
So the only time you don't see that is Netflix. Like
yeah.
when
That's true.
Netflix produces a series, they produce all 13, 10, 12, whatever they're going to do. They just make them all and just throw them out there. They don't worry about mid-season breaks and stuff like that, because it's
Yeah,
a
which
different
which
way.
is which is kind of nice. Like I really like
Hmm.
that the way they do that because you don't get this. You get good story all the way through instead of waiting half the season to really start building on it. But I don't know. I think sometimes they're not as involved. They're not as good with character development. I haven't seen um, was the House of Cards, and I've heard it's pretty good.
House of Cards is good. If
Um,
you like Sleepy Hollow, you should really check out Hemlock Grove.
oh yeah, yeah, and I've heard that's good.
It really
I
is.
really should give that a watch.
It does take an episode or two to really get going. Um, and more so of the first episode is kind of a tease as to whether or not you think it's going to be, you know, the kind of show it advertises itself to be.
Mhm.
And then the next few episodes, they kind of set the tone, and it does kind of grab your attention in an interesting way. So I mean, that kind of stuff is definitely worth checking out. So, for me, actually, I've been watching Walking Dead. Speaking of creepy, weird stuff,
Yeah.
and speaking of slow, I mean, I know I've mentioned before that the first season or two of Walking Dead was a little, or first not season or two, first episode or two, excuse me, was a little slow. But I mean, man, it is slow until like episode 6 of season 3.
Mhm.
Joss and I were watching it just today, actually, at lunchtime, and like there's a, I mean, no spoilers, but there's a part where two characters are in an area. They've wanted to leave the area, or one of them has wanted to leave the area for at least an episode or two, and they're having a conversation about one leaving and one not wanting to leave, and
Mhm.
it goes on forever. ever. I mean, like every time one of them opens up their mouth in this verbal sparring match, they are saying the same thing back and forth to one another in just a different way. And it get to the point where Jocelyn and I were just almost shouting at the television, just leave, just shut up, stop talking, and walk away. And
Yeah.
it makes no sense how much posturing and blabbering is in this show. I mean, are you all caught up, Matt?
Your thing says you're on episode 7,
Mm.
and I'm on 8, so
Okay.
I'm right ahead of you.
Right ahead of me, right?
And that whole part you're talking, I guess they didn't really give enough character development for me to feel like it mattered. Like one wants to leave and one wants to stay, and I'm like, what's the issue?
Yeah, who cares?
Like,
yeah.
I feel like they've already made their decision: one stay and one leave. What's the problem here?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like those two characters are tied at the hip. Like they can go different directions. There's no reason they can't. Why are we spending 3 episodes deciding whether or not they're going to go or they're going to stay? Like,
yeah,
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Now, one thing I do continue to like about the show is that, like other shows that came before it, like Battlestar Galactica or even Game of Thrones, if you haven't read the books, you don't know who's safe. There's major characters and certain people that you either go to dislike or like that buy the farm a lot sooner than you think they're going to, and that has kept me kind of interested in. When a couple of things happen in season 3, your ears kind of perk up and go, "Oh, okay, this just got way more interesting than the last 5 or 6 episodes." I still stand by that the first 2 seasons were really good, but season 3 has been a little bit of a drag. Peyton, you don't watch The Walking Dead, do you?
Yeah, no, I'm not really into the horror and the scary stuff like that. Like so the last time I went to a scary movie, I actually broke one of the seats. So anyway, I'm one of those guys that always falls for the cat behind the thing when the music's going up and all that stuff. So,
right.
Yeah. I'm not a big scary movie person. That doesn't really do anything for me, so I tend to stay away from that. I was leery of The Walking Dead at first. And I don't know. I guess I don't watch it in the dark ever, so that helps. Don't ever put myself in the mindset that a zombie could walk up to the window while you're sitting here.
Actually, as a side note about being scared, last night on the way home, this is just nothing to do with The Walking Dead or anything, but I was coming in the house, I was coming upstairs, pitch black outside, and I bent over to pick up a glove off the stairs, and when I stood up, about 6 inches from my face on the railing was this great big raccoon, and I scared the life out of him, and he scared the life out of me. I jumped so fast, I hurt my shoulder.
Oh my God.
Lee was like, "What is going on?" She was right by the car laughing hysterically. I'm like, we don't have raccoons in Newfoundland. Anyway.
That's nothing for me to turn the light on and see a family of raccoons sitting out on the porch tormenting my dog. So
Raccoons are not small animals either.
No, they can get quite large.
Apparently they're delicious. So.
Really?
That's what I've been told. I've never eaten them. My family has, but I've heard that they can be
nutritious and delicious. Taste just like rat. Ugh.
True that.
You are what you eat. You know what raccoons eat? Everything.
That's the truth.
No, thank you. Well, one of the other things that I've been watching is Chronicle, and this is a movie that came out 2012, and it's on Netflix, and it's been on my watch list forever. I recognize the name. I remember the synopsis. I remember the trailers. I think I might have even seen a trailer in the theater ahead of movies before. Sorry, go ahead.
This is the handy cam one, right? Like everything's like from a handy cam.
So what the premise is, it's pretty simple. It sets itself up almost like a horror movie where there's a bunch of kids and they're at a party and they find this stone in the ground that gives them powers. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. They don't go into a lot of detail about explaining what it is, where it came from, how it affected them. But the whole thing is told from the point of view of this one kid who's got a mother who's on her deathbed, an abusive father or a stepfather, and he decides to start doing documentary filming stuff, like video blogging and whatever. So the whole movie is told through the camera that he has with him. And the powers that they all get are telekinesis. So they can move all kinds of things with just their mind. And it works like a muscle. They start off really slow, moving like Lego blocks and baseballs, and then it starts to get better the more you use it. So the kid that has the camera as a neat way to get around the cinematography limit that they've put on themselves. He starts to control the camera with telekinesis. So all of a sudden, he doesn't have to be holding it. He doesn't have to be behind the camera anymore, and you can get all three of them in the shot. They can do a boom shot. They can do different things with the camera as these guys are doing different things with their powers that they're developing. And it was a really, really interesting take on what would happen if regular people got superpowers. And it was a really kind of a nice reminder that not everyone would be Clark Kent. Like some people that might get special abilities are going to be messed up. Like they're going to be teenagers that don't know about responsibility, that don't know about even being happy, like don't know or have emotional baggage from abusive homes and what that means when you can like crush a car with your mind. Like it really takes things to not a dark place, but a realistic place, more realistic than they're used to dealing with in like the Avengers or the Hulk. Stuff like that, and it was.
They're working on a sequel, aren't they?
Are they? Because it was a good movie. Like, I mean, out of
so.
5 stars on Netflix, I think I gave it 4. Like, I was impressed. The effects were great. The concepts were great.
I really wanted to like this movie.
You didn't like it?
Well, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not a huge Handycam fan. Like
I could see that being really annoying in the
tends-
theater.
That tends to be a distraction for me, and it's like I don't want to see the cam shake. Like I get that it's supposed to be like, oh, it's from their viewpoint, but at the same time, I'm like, at the beginning it would have been okay, and then once they started to develop their powers, like just jump back into a regular movie. Like I don't need the handy cam for that.
Yeah.
And so it was distracting to me. The concept I really liked. The characters I really liked. I think it did a really good job at setting itself up for this, for a string of movies, if not just one or not just two, but to be able to really build a series on if they wanted to. But
Yeah.
man, I don't know. I mean, I didn't dislike it by any stretch. I just was really distracted by the handy cam, and I guess that just bugged me a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the 50 Shades of Chronicles. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
That'd be really twisted, actually.
I mean,
Yeah.
what caught my attention too is that I really like the acting in it. I mean, Michael B. Jordan is from Friday Night Lights, and he does a really good job in this. And I can't remember. I think it's Dane DeHaan is the guy that plays the abused kid, and he is by far the most interesting character out of all of them, and how he deals with these powers and stuff. And I found that kind of that take on things to be really interesting. So I don't know. I would recommend at least checking it out. I mean, I watched it in 2 parts. It wasn't so compelling that I had to finish it in one sitting. Like I mean, I watched half of it on Saturday, and I think the other day over lunch I finished the other bit just with a sandwich. So I mean, it's certainly worth checking out if you've got a Netflix subscription.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's worth checking out, and I would watch it again. It's just one of those things where handycams bug me, so it makes it difficult to be really excited to sit down and watch it again. I did really like the concept, so I feel like there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I do agree with the handycam thing because I had that issue with Man of Steel. I keep on wanting to call it Superman, but with Man of Steel in the theater, there's a lot of handycam, especially at the beginning, and it does continue throughout the whole film, but they do more of it at the start.
Confession here, I've
Yeah?
not seen that movie yet.
You have not seen that movie? Okay, well, I won't spoil anything. But it's when you're in the action, it works. It feels gritty. But when you're just watching 2 people talk, you just want to
Yeah.
grab the cameraman and say, "Stay still."
Yeah,
Like-
and that's the way I feel. And this, like the Chronicle, it had a lot of, they were flying around, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of movement and running, and so it works for that stuff. But
Yeah.
when you're just standing there talking, like that's rough. Like,
Yeah,
just stop
I agree.
moving the camera.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it did get a little bit better later on when he starts to move the camera with his telekinesis because it's a lot smoother.
Yeah,
Like it
Yeah,
just
that's true.
kind of stays where it's supposed to be. It might just kind of slowly drift, but it's certainly not like it's being held by somebody.
yeah,
Yeah, which is the way that it starts off the whole movie. But yeah, I mean, like it's the stuff in Man of Steel was a little bit too much. But again, like I'm also watching Chronicle on a small screen, and I saw Man of Steel on a huge screen, and I was pretty close. So I'm curious as to whether it's going to bug me as much when I watch Man of Steel on Blu-ray at home. compared to a
Yes.
big theater.
I guess like what was the J.J. Abrams Cloverfield,
Cloverfield, yeah.
which wasn't a terrible movie by my standards. I know not everybody agrees with that. The movie itself I don't think was that bad. The Handycam really ruined it.
Mm.
And then you look at a movie like 8 millimeter?
Oh,
The Spielberg one?
Peyton, help me out with that one. What is it?
I think it was 8 millimeter.
Super
8
8?
millimeter? Super 8.
Super
That's
8,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. 8
And
millimeter
there was a lot of Handycam stuff in it, and it worked because of the reasoning they were doing, the reason behind it.
Yeah.
When you get to see stuff on the camera, but I guess in that movie it helped that after a while they're just like, okay, so we can go back to just shooting from a regular
camera, yeah.
and it looks like a movie and not like it's being filmed from a little handheld camera.
Yeah.
But,
Right on. Well, I actually have something to mention for a book pick this week. And granted, I haven't started reading much of it yet because it's a brand new book on my desk. And that is something that I actually got for Christmas this weekend. It sounds silly, but my folks go to Florida for the winter. So we do this thing in October here on Thanksgiving weekend in Canada called Christmactober. And Jocelyn and I, my sister, we all went down to my mom's place in Windsor and we had Christmas dinner with gift exchange, but on Thanksgiving. And Mom bought me The Noble Approach, Maurice Noble and the Zen of Animation Design.
How is it?
It is a beautiful book. It's huge. I don't know the exact dimensions, but I'm looking at it here. It's probably 14 inches wide by 10 inches tall. It's a large book.
So is it bigger than a regular Chronicle books like the Art of the Incredibles or?
I want to
Monsters,
say
stuff like
bigger,
that?
yeah. I want to
Okay.
say taller. Like it's
Yeah.
got just maybe an inch or two taller.
Okay.
But it's just so wonderfully laid out. It's a thick book as well. Probably got a solid inch thick. It's hardcover, of course, with a nice slipcase. But for anybody that's not familiar, Maurice Noble designed a lot of the layouts and a lot of the backgrounds in Warner Brothers cartoons in the 50s and the 60s.
And he's also responsible for transporter technology. And Duck Dodgers, the entire evaporator thing, I think was his.
Oh, it was his idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he collaborated a lot. I mean, the preface is by Chuck Jones and the foreword is by Maurice Noble himself. The book is written by Todd Polson, but based on the notes from Maurice Noble. And I mean, it's just gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to getting into it and seeing what it is that, made him so good at what he did. It's such a neat stylistic approach because that's the kind of thing that I want to do. Like, I mean, I admire background painters and I admire the detail that goes into matte painting and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily have the drive to do it myself. But lately I've found myself drawn more to design, to just using space and rhythm in design. And I feel like this is kind of like the book that I've been waiting for, just to kind of like see what can be done and remind myself about what can be done, to kind of meet in the middle and do some really interesting stuff. But yeah, I'm excited. There'll be a link in the show notes. You can check it out for yourself. And if you're an animation fan or just an art fan in general, I mean, so far, even with just reading the first few pages and a leaf through, like I would recommend it. But I'm also kind of an animation nerd, so that's my 2 cents.
Have you also seen Dream Worlds by what's it, Bacher?
No.
It's another concept book with all backgrounds. He's more of a Disney approach, but I got it over here. I'll lend it to you sometime. It's really
Absolutely,
good.
yeah. No, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Matt, what about you? Anything on your nightstand?
Actually, yeah, of course, part of this is the podcast that Joel and I have been working on, but I picked up the new World of Warcraft book, the one about Vol'jin. It's Vol'jin: Shadows of the Horde.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of lore in general, especially for something like Warcraft that has such in-depth lore, and this book was really good because it really did a good job of building a character that I didn't know a lot about, and really gave some background to Vol'jin, the character, and where he comes from, and for if you're playing the game, the current stuff going on in the game has a lot to do with him and a lot to do with what the book is about, and so I've really enjoyed it. It's not I've read a bunch of them, so it's probably I don't think it's the best one that I've read of the Warcraft series of books, but right now definitely liking it a lot, and it's playing into the game a lot, so I can see a lot of those things that crossover there, which is always fun for me when I'm reading books like this. And I'm one who likes to pick up. I have a 45-minute commute to work, so I like to pick up books that don't require a whole lot of thought and that are pretty easy to read, and pick them up as an audiobook through Audible, and then crank the speed up to 3 and listen to them that way.
Jeez.
So that's how I've been reading this one. So it doesn't take very long to read these books when you read them that way. So
No. Now, do you find would this be good for someone that is not a Warcraft player and maybe hasn't delved into the universe that much?
not so much. If you don't have any part of the Warcraft universe at all going on, then this probably wouldn't be that great of a book for him because it does tie pretty closely into the rest of them. You could probably pick up the series like any of the Warcraft books if you read them starting from the beginning. Then you probably wouldn't have too much of a problem because it's pretty fantasy and and Warcraft is pretty common. It's pretty basic fantasy.
Yeah. Orcs,
Stuff, so-
orcs, humans, trolls,
Yeah, and so
dwarves.
you get most of that basic stuff in any of the books, but especially the newer ones are very much driven with the story of the game.
Right.
You could probably pick this one up if you didn't play World of Warcraft. If you were just a big fan of the old Warcraft games, you could probably pick this up and you'd be okay with it because some of the characters cross over
Okay.
pretty well. But it's really the newer series of books are really tied into the game, the storyline going on with it, and kind of play into the background of what's been happening and leading up to each major expansion that goes on in the game. So or patch content that goes on in the game. But,
Cool. No, I've got lots of people around me that are reading Warcraft novels now, and I've got the itch to try and check it out if I've got a chance to read some fiction in the near future. They're definitely on my list because being so invested in the game with some of my spare time for gaming and even socializing with our friends from the Tadpool. I mean, it's worth knowing because there's so many times where you go into a raid or you go in to do something in the game, and the experience, while not poor, is enriched that much more if you have a little bit more knowledge as far as the outside lore and the supporting novels and stuff like that. So, yeah, very cool.
Yeah. And that's why I enjoy reading them. Like, I've read some when I first got into reading them. I would pick up little things and I think, man, I've heard that name before. I've heard of this place or something, and then I'd be playing the game and be like, oh, I just read about that. Like, so
Nice.
there's some good tie-in between all of them, but the new ones are really well tied into the game.
Cool. Right on. Well, that brings us to the Internet Minute. This is where we share some cool stuff that we find online. Paton, what have you got this week to share?
I just got two quick little picks there. One is from your sister, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the
What did you
Medieval
find?
Land Funtime World Extended Trailer.
Love
Okay.
this.
What is this?
And it is. You ever see the bad lip syncing of Twilight stuff a while ago? Someone did.
Oh, maybe.
It's a YouTube channel about it, and they've done Game of Thrones, and they basically set up a bunch of clips in the first season and have it set up as they're trying to make a new medieval times sort of place or funland sort of thing, and it's just random, just gibberish coming out of their faces, and it's really quite funny. It's actually hilarious. Yeah, it's worth watching. You'll get a big charge out of it.
Cool.
And the other one is just Halloween coming. There is a link to it's on Geekology, but it is of a family who have gone out as the cast of Labyrinth, and with the
Goodness.
dad and the little boy is the Goblin King, and they even got the dog there and stuff. It's really quite funny.
Wow.
And then they show the costume from last year where he went as the cast of Beetlejuice, and I'm just like, wow, these kids are crazy.
That's
My
awesome.
Anyway. Yeah, like those are the type of parents you want to be, right?
Yeah,
So,
there's
yeah.
there was a really funny ad during a football game this Sunday when we were down at Mom's, and I can't remember what the ad was for, but essentially, the wife was dressed up as, I believe it was Leia in her bounty hunter costume from
Okay.
Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
The dad was Jabba, and he had a front carryall with their little baby girl,
Yeah.
and she was dressed up as Slave Leia.
Okay.
So this little baby slave Leia had like the bikini with the gold frills and stuff on it, and she's dangling in front of Jabba the Hutt, like just
Wow.
priceless. Really, really clever. I mean, it was a commercial. Unfortunately, it wasn't like someone coming up with it on their own,
Yeah.
but it's really, really cool. I can't believe they even got the dog involved in Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's even the right kind of dog, I think,
I know.
or close
Pretty
to
close.
it.
Yeah.
Wow, so fun, so
Yeah.
fun.
Nice.
Matt, what about you? What do you have to share?
Well, I was gonna do that medieval fun time
Oh,
world
sorry.
Oh,
just in the
Peyton, you
trailer,
thief!
and then I looked in the notes and Peyton had grabbed it. So I don't know.
Oh, you don't have anything.
I don't really have much.
Wow.
Can I plug a podcast that
You
I
can plug a
listened to
podcast.
the
That's
other
on the
day?
internet. Go ahead.
That was absolutely fantastic for anybody who is playing the new Hearthstone game.
Hmm.
I'm going to plug the Angry Chicken
Please do.
for you guys. That show was fantastic. I've been listening to Dills on the Instance for a while and loved listening to him. And then that whole group is just fantastic because I mean Jocelyn's on there, and so getting everybody's opinion of the game and seeing where they're coming from and all playing kind of different aspects of the game, you really get a good rounded view, and it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Cool. I have yet to listen because it's a monster.
Yeah, it's a long
It
one.
was like
It
2 hours.
a
They
long
won't be
one.
doing a 2 hour show all the time, but they were just so excited to get going with their new show that they talked for quite a while. So I'm curious to see what it's like because I've been playing now for about a week. I think I got the beta key Friday maybe. So I've been playing around with Hearthstone, but everybody seems pretty excited about it. Lots of really positive reviews. It was #1 in the U.S. Podcasting gaming section, I guess, on iTunes
Nice.
today, which was amazing because it's been out for like a day, maybe
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's awesome.
what's today? Wednesday? Yeah, it's been out for like a
Basically,
day.
so for a day.
Yeah, it's crazy. So for anybody out there that's showing their support, I think that's wonderful because I'm excited for Jocelyn. I think it's going to be a really really fun show. She loves Hearthstone. Man,
Yeah,
she plays a lot of
it's
Hearthstone.
so much fun.
Yeah, it's a good game. Peyton, are you familiar with Hearthstone?
No, I'm
No,
not.
it's a trading card game. It's like a Magic or even just the World of Warcraft trading card game, but it's basically it's a computer game based on the World of Warcraft universe,
Okay.
but it's really straightforward. It's taken a lot of it's easy to play, difficult to master, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
definitely.
Really easy to get into. And it's in beta right now, so there's a swash
see
of people that have it, but not everybody does yet.
It's easy to get into if you can get into it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
easy to learn how to play is what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably. Did they say it was going to be free to play?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they said is it's free to play because they want you to buy in-game items. Obviously,
Yeah, they
I
want
mean,
you to buy
can-
cards and stuff like
You
that.
can definitely play and not buy anything.
Absolutely.
Because it takes a little bit more time, but it's definitely there.
Yeah,
I think that it's a great model for Blizzard to use simply because it's fun. It's kind of cartoonish graphics, pretty straightforward gameplay. Definitely a lot of opportunity for them to open up the esports world there and make some money off of people who just don't care and will
Yeah.
spend crap tons of
yeah.
money on
And I
that
mean,
stuff.
I've got to get my ass in gear and try to submit some artwork because when you do the details on the card, they show you the spell power, what it's worth, all this kind of stuff. But then they also credit each individual artist
Wow.
behind the drawing, or I guess painting in most cases, the
Yeah.
illustration on the cards. So, and it's not just the same people, and they're people that aren't necessarily full-time Blizzard artists, because I'm recognizing some names from DeviantArt and other people that are submitting art to the game. So I'm really curious to see what their policy is going to be on future packs and future artists and stuff like that. So
That would be really cool if it was much more of a community based situation there where it's like just anybody who fancies himself an artist, just send us some drawings. We'll tell you what we think. If we like them, they might show up in the next expansion or on some future cards.
yeah, well,
I
they
think we get a
had
lot of people doing that.
yeah, they had an open, I want to say invite, but they had an open application on the now no longer being produced World of Warcraft trading card game, which
Okay.
is the physical tabletop game. And you could do some paintings and submit them and see if they had a card for you to, like if they wanted to hire you for a card illustration. So That might be the same with this. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see the Angry Chicken do well as a Hearthstone podcast because I mean, obviously, I think Jocelyn is pretty amazing, but I mean, I like Garrett and Dills a lot too, and I think they're in it at the right time. You know, it's in the second round of beta. It's doing well as far as game reviews, and there's a lot of people playing it. And I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, definitely.
Sorry, one you mentioned beta. Sorry, one last little thing. Sketchbook Pro has a beta program right now. They're doing some more development. If anyone's interested in that.
Oh, that's right. I can't remember when you sent me that link, but I think I signed up for that.
I'll throw it up in the chat room there anyway here. Now.
Cool. Yeah, no, Sketchbook Pro is another great program to get in on the early bells and whistles. And I mean, actually, speaking of sketching, I am actually taking part in Skillshare at Skillshare.com, which is my pick this week. And I'm taking 2 classes, character concept art from initial sketch to final design with Charlie Bowater, and logo design, let the type do the talking with Evan Hua. And so far, I have to say I'm really impressed. Skillshare.com, if you're not familiar, is a place where you, as an artist or a contributor to the community, can go and make a lesson. So you can say, I'm going to show you how to, draw the basics of perspective, or I'm going to do a figure drawing class or whatever. And they charge you to take the class. They're self-directed, but they are community-based as well as, the artists can say up front whether they're going to contribute to individual feedback or whether they're just going to do like kind of a general class feedback, and they're very, very affordable. I believe I paid $17 to be in the character concept art one, and I think logo design was maybe $15. There are sales on them all the time, especially as it comes close to when they're supposed to launch. There is a community of people that put up ideas like day one. So I mean, if you're stuck for what to do for this class, I mean, you can go and look at the student gallery and check things out. And I mean, it's a really, really cool site. And it's not like these people are not like really well-known professionals. I mean, Charlie Bowater is a concept artist that I've seen on DeviantArt. That's actually how I found Skillshare.com, was through her. And she was doing the concept art for Injustice, Gods Among Us, which is the latest fighting game with all the DC characters in it. So she's got these wicked paintings of like Joker and Harley Quinn just married, like jumping through a wall and stuff like that, and all these really, really cool images. And she's the one teaching the course. I mean, you can go to her DeviantArt gallery and just kind of see the kind of stuff your teacher has done. And I mean, it's a really cool opportunity. I can't believe how little they charge for these courses. I mean, again, granted, you're not getting one-on-one time. I mean, there could be as many as 300 people in this class. So the feedback comes as kind of a community thing. So you can't be afraid to kind of put your work online. But man, I mean, it's such a cool opportunity to check this kind of stuff out. So I really encourage anybody to go and look through Skillshare.com, because I mean, the coding, graphic design, web design, what else could there be? Like, there's all kinds of things, like woodworking, like anything you can think of. They've got videos that basically cover it, and it's totally worth checking out.
And I think if you join their Facebook group, they get little ads pop up once in a while, and you might even get a bigger discount, like $10 off on it, stuff like that. So
yeah, actually, I feel like if you refer somebody, you get a credit.
Cool.
So like you could, if I referred you and you signed up for Charlie's course, I feel like I get a $10 credit or something like that, which means like my next course could be 50% off.
Or if you put the code for the referral on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's all that kind of stuff, but I mean, I think it might be a one-time thing, but
yeah.
Are they are they just somebody's recorded this video and you go watch it on your own time?
Yes.
Are they? Okay, that's cool.
But they're locked until a certain launch date.
Okay.
And then they have a schedule. So I don't I'm pretty sure you have access to all the videos right away, but the idea is that, like, if you start on a Tuesday, every Tuesday you go back and you watch the next lesson, you've got a week to do your homework. Like, for
Okay.
example, I've got to draw thumbnails for the character design one, for this one image that I'm going to do. And so I'm going to spend, a few hours doing some thumbnails and then post them and then go watch the second video and see where that goes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes the videos are 30 minutes, sometimes they're 15. It depends on what what section of the course is going on. And you have lifetime access. So as long as you have an account with Skillshare, you can go back and take the course over again as many times as you want.
Okay, and that's cool. Like, yeah, I looked at here, and here's a beginner one for building iPhone apps. That's pretty cool. Like, they really have about everything in there, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's really kind of a beginner freelancer's dream. Like, if you've got
Yeah.
some skill sets
Yeah.
that you're a little shy on, and maybe you not necessarily need to do professionally, but you're working with app developers and you need to just learn to speak the language
Yeah.
for $20. I
Yeah.
mean, and a couple weeks out of your life doing some homework. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's a really open venue, and I'm curious to see what else is going to be there. Because I mean, my issue with my work a lot of the times is website coding. Like, it takes me forever to fix stuff when it goes wrong on websites. And if I understood CSS better, or if I had a better idea about DNS servers, or like the back end of things with PHP, like I could probably fix a lot of my own stuff. you
Yeah,
know?
and it looks like there's definitely a ton of that stuff in here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, very flexible, especially when it comes to digital media and whatnot, because then it's easy for people to produce and post,
yeah.
make videos about
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Right on. Well, that brings us to the close of another episode of the Citadel Cafe. We record live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on joelduggan.com/live. Music for the Citadel Cafe was composed by Kevin MacLeod, and the podcast is, of course, available on demand via iTunes and our website, thecitadelcafe.com. Drop us a line via Gmail, Twitter, Facebook, or Google+, just the name of the show, and you might find your thoughts and or criticisms of your favorite television show or your favorite website or book right here on the episode. On the show. I don't know. I'm going to pretend that I got that right and just keep on going.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah. If you are curious about The Angry Chicken, then I would encourage you to check out amove.tv. That is where you can find The Angry Chicken, the Gamers In podcast, and a host of other shows about gaming. The Gamers In is on Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and you can find out more at gamersinpodcast.com or amove.tv/TGI. I believe Angry Chicken is amove.tv/TAC for The Angry Chicken. My name is Joel Duggan. You can find everything I am up to online at joelduggan.com, including my upcoming con appearances, as well as a sale going on in my store right now. If you are heading to Pop Expo, you can pick up a con sketch ahead of time, save on the shipping and the tax, and also don't have to worry about the quality of care your artwork gets in Canada Post. You can just pick it up for me in person at Pop Expo on the 26th. I will also be doing the same thing for HalCon. So if you keep an eye on the store, I usually put the sale on a week or so ahead of time. So anybody wants more elaborate sketches that I might not be able to have time to do during the con, you can just send me a request ahead of time. And then you get to meet me in person. And we get to exchange artwork and handshakes and high fives and all that kind of good stuff. You can also follow me on Twitter and Google Plus with just my name. Peyton, where can people find you online?
Cardboardtreehouse.com is my website, and my name, Peyton Francis, on Twitter and thereabouts. How about you, Mr. Matt? Where can people find you and your good offerings?
Right now you can find me on Twitter at the Matt Britton. That's really the only place I've got much of a presence right now. Hopefully once the podcast goes live, we'll be have a website up, and you can follow us, do all that good stuff.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Should be a good time.
I hope so.
You have been listening to the Citadel Cafe, where we are fast, easy, and cheap, but you can only pick two. Matt, remind me, where is the picture in your Twitter avatar from? Is that Nertacular?
Yes. Yeah, I had to think of what it was.
Peyton was
it's-
talking about it before
It's
the
from
show.
Spectacular. Yeah, I got a picture with them right before they went to take their costumes off.
Oh, cool. Who is it? Chinbeard?
Yeah, Chinbeard and his wife are the Space Marine and Chandra from Magic the
Chandra
Gathering.
from Magic the Gathering,
Yeah,
and I
and
believe
then
that Bill is Shepard,
yes,
Commander
that's what it
Shepard
is.
from Mass
And
Effect.
then his brother and his wife are what were they? They were Han Solo, Mario, and Princess Leia Peach. I think is what they were. I love their
Nice.
costume. So
Have you guys seen that Joker costume that came out about a week ago online?
No.
It's from a. Let me see if I can find this for you here. It's the guy. The 52 version of Joker where he tore his face off and sticks it back on.
Vaguely.
Anyway, someone did that as a cosplay. Let's see, Joker.
Wow. He took his face off.
that's pretty cool.